Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host, Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry and Plurk. This is episode 8, Looking Ahead. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. I am a little bit sick this week. The kids are pretty much over their colds. Gabriel's got a little bit of a lingering cough, but no big deal. But I might cough during the podcast. I'll try to make sure that I don't dry out, but we'll see how that goes. In other news for my week, sorry, there was a fuzzy. The replacement cord for my laptop has not come yet. I'm hoping it comes today, and then I will be able to upload last week's episode and this week's episode because they're still on my camcorder right now. That kind of sucks, but technology, especially with the way shipping happens during the holidays season, it's not great. I'm sorry, the light is giving me these lines from my glasses. Maybe I'll try backing up. It's dreary outside still, so we are dealing with overhead light. Yeah, I'm just gonna look like I have bruises, but whatever. It's fine. Something else really exciting. We finally have the dates for our Michigan trip. Yay! I'm so excited. Christmas isn't really Christmas without my family. We can go to Steve's family and that's great. And we had Becca over for Christmas and that was really nice, and her boyfriend. But it's just not the same as Christmas with my sister. It just really isn't. It's not Christmas without her. So we are going to leave on, his vacation is January 10th through 14th. So we are going to leave either the night of the 9th or early on the 10th. And then 4 days basically in Michigan, which is really, really exciting. So yeah, that's what's going to happen, which knowing the dates has influenced how all of my crafting is going to happen for the next week and a half. Before we get into yarny type stuff, I want to say thank you to Diane of Knittables. She held a knit-along for the Crosswords at the Coffee Shop shawl that I made by Carrie Steinmetz. She held a knit-along for that pattern. And the morning that the knit-along was closing, I had the shawl in my dish rack drying overnight because I washed it, but then it was just way too soaked. And my washing machine was full of clothes, so I couldn't just spin it out in there. So that morning I woke up and I was like, oh my goodness, I need to get this blocked and pictured so that it can be part of the knit-along drawing. I didn't expect to win because I was the very last person to enter, and random number generator is not always kind to the last number, but I did. I won, and the prizes that Diane was offering were 5. She was going to give 5 people a paid pattern from Carrie, whatever you chose. So I chose Walnut Grove by Carrie Steinmetz. Again, I don't have pictures, but I will link the pattern in the show notes so you can see it. It is beautiful. All of Carrie's patterns, I think, are very beautiful. But I really, really liked that one. And I even asked Steve just to get his opinion because I don't wear a lot of shawls, but I like them, and I wanted to, see what he thought of the shawls, and he was like, oh, that one for sure. So, went with Walnut Grove. Again, thank you, Diane, for having that wonderful knit-along. I would also like to throw out there a thank you to the designers who have been offering their patterns for free the last couple days. I have purchased 2 free patterns, 2 for-pay patterns, but I've gotten them for free. And you will see those coming up, but not right now. I'm not even going to get into there. The kids are being quiet right now, but they're not sleeping. I don't know how long that is going to last, so I'm going to try and get through the podcast before they wake up. Onto the knit and crochet along. That is still going on. 1 week from today, it will close. Still no one has put in any toys, but I know people were waiting until after the holidays, so if you are making a toy to send off, fantastic. Put it in the finished objects thread. Tag the toys Bunnyfish Softies, BUNNIPHISHISSOFTIES. And again, that is closing on January 7th at noon. And, oh yes, the prize. The prize will be a pattern up to $7 for a toy that is giftable on Ravelry. Please be a member of the group to submit your finished objects, and please just jump on in. And I guess if nobody joins, then maybe I will wrap someone a toy pattern. That's probably what I'll do. I'll wrap someone a pattern if no one joins. On to finished object. I have one. This was commissioned. This is a Cthulhu in a diaper for the World Builders Foundation, Association. I'm not sure. I should have looked it up. Patrick Rothfuss, the author, he has a charity, and every Christmas time they do a lottery and have a whole bunch of signed books and etc., etc. And they also have a shop, and all the proceeds from these things, there's bids and stuff that you can do on different things. All the proceeds go to help Heifer International. So I've always been interested in Heifer International. I think it's a great cause. And World Builders asked in October, I believe, if there were any crafters, via Facebook, they asked if there were any crafters who would be interested in donating. And, excuse me, I donated. I donated 4 Cthulhus this size but green, and 4 Cthulhus this color but 2 inches shorter. And they sold out of those really quickly. I got the link to, I got an email to the link of the blog post that it was in the next day, and when I went to it, they were all sold out. So I offered to make some more through my Etsy shop, and half of the sale would go to World Builders, so I would have enough for materials and shipping and stuff. So yes, this was the only commission that has happened so far. It's for Adam, and I will be sending that out tomorrow. Oh, I don't think the post office is open tomorrow because it's New Year's Day. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. Well, if it doesn't go out tomorrow, then I guess I'll have to figure out how to get it there on Wednesday. Yes. That is my only finished object. I used Caron 1 pound in soft pink and white to make this diaper, and the pattern is kind of a hodgepodge of a lot of the free Cthulhu patterns on Ravelry right now. I kind of just looked over all of them, took the parts that I liked, and went with that. On to works in progress. I have in my works in progress 2 hose. Look at that. Robert's sock made with Peyton's Croy stretch sock in spearmint, made on US size 2, 2.75 needles using Wedge by Cookie A. I think this pattern is really, really cool. And I don't know if I'll make it again, only because I'm not really great at making things a second time. Obviously second socks I don't have a problem with, but making patterns again, I probably will make this, just not soon. once I have time off from a specific pattern, I'm usually pretty good with it. So yeah, love it. I decided to just finish the sock instead of do 2 of them at a time because I didn't realize that this yarn striped. The other yarns that I have that are like this, well, I guess one yarn like this stripes, but the other 2 that I have are variegated. I thought this was going to be a variegated, but it's a striping. So I just did the first sock, and I'm going to cast on the second sock. I don't know if I'm going to line up the stripes. I haven't decided yet. I might, but I might just let it be how it is. I don't know. And then Kenny's sock, which is Peyton's Croy Sock Rag Shades in the colorway Gray Brown Marl, US size 2, 2.75 millimeters. Cookie A designed this sock, and it is called Slide. I'm going to put it on my hand so you can actually see the design on it. There you go. See how it curves around this way across the foot, and it twists on the leg as well. I used the size small because it gave me the correct amount of stitches around, but Kenny's foot, he's 7, so his foot is shorter than a size small adult. I thought that was kind of weird that it's the same circumference but a different length, but whatever. It makes sense. Kids are weird. Kids' proportions are bizarre. Have you seen those babies with like huge heads? My kids didn't have like huge heads. They had like big heads, normal baby size heads, but Steve has a friend who has a son who just has like a big head. It's still kind of big, I feel. It's just very round. Mara's face is a little bit round, but Gabriel's face is long like mine, so it just never seemed that big. Anyway, yeah, weird proportions. So what happened was I had 6 stitches left in this pattern section, the ribbed section, and for the pattern you're supposed to finish off all of those stitches and then do stockinette. I hope I'm not going to get in trouble for telling you that stockinette until it's time to decrease for the toe, but since I was where I needed to be decreasing for the toe and I hadn't finished off the rib stitching, I kind of had to finagle the toe, and I hope it fits him fine, and I'm going to have to finagle the other toe, but it looks okay. Hopefully it'll fit fine. I don't know. I'm kind of worried about it, but if it's horrible, I'll just rip out the toe after he tries it on and try something else. Not a big deal. Then I have Melissa's socks. Last week, they were just these little black toes. This week, the foot is almost completed. I think I have another 4 or so rounds before I start working the gusset. She has small feet, size 7. I'm using my own pattern. It's just easy lace. I really like the way that it's breaking up this variegated colorway, which is Science Monkey Mercantile. And, oh, my ball is falling apart a little bit. Oh look, all fixed. I don't have a ball winder. I wind using the handle of my whisk because it is pretty big. It's probably about the diameter of a nickel, so it makes the balls airy when they start to compress in the center, which is nice. But yeah, I just wrap around that, and this was the first time that I wrapped a ball of yarn, and it's not bad. It's just not great. It's kind of falling apart a little bit. But anyway, so I'm making up this pattern. This is Science Monkey Mercantile Faraday sock yarn in the colorway NSO November. I can't remember what I told you already because, you know, I go off on tangents and forget. And I'm working it. The toes were worked on US size 2.75 millimeters, but then when I got to this yarn, and the toes are also Knit Picks Stroll fingering in black. This isn't like a really light fingering, but it's just not as thick as the Knit Picks. So I had to go down to size 1s to make it look nice. And I like the fabric now. It looks good. See the stockinette side? I'm hoping, well, let me get to this last one. I have one more pair of socks on the needles. Yes, one more. This is going to be Mara's pair of socks. Because I'm making, did I tell you that I'm making socks for Cecilia? I made those pink ruby-ish slipper socks for her. Because she asked me for yarn socks. I know I told you that. And then I decided I was going to make socks for all of the kids who are going to be there on Christmas. I do have another niece, but I hardly ever see her, and I don't really talk to her family that frequently. Like, they don't even send Christmas cards, so I'm not going to make her a pair of socks because, I don't know, they don't even send Christmas cards. She's Gabriel. Well, she's in between Gabriel and Mara's age, that niece. But anyway, so I decided I was going to make socks for all the kids. Cecilia's are done. These are Kenny and Robert's. So I started on Mara's. And I'm using the pattern Monkey by Cookie A. You are going to see a lot of Cookie A coming up in the sock making because Memphis Holly gave me Knit Sock Love, and Hanala gave me Slide, which this is Slide, and this is from Knit Sock Love, and this is from Knit Sock Love. I feel when I get patterns that I need to make them right away. Otherwise, they'll just sit there, and I kind of feel like I am wasting money. I don't mind if people who I gift patterns don't use them right away. I don't mind if they never get used. I just feel compelled to make them and to get, let's see, Knit Sock Love is $17 to buy the ebook, and the patterns, if you buy the socks singly, are $6. So to make up the cost of the book, you need to use 4 patterns, well, 3 technically, but 4 to really get your money's worth. So definitely, I have 2 going right now, so definitely in the next probably 6 pairs of socks, 2 of them are going to be from that book. I would guess. Anyway, so Mara's socks. Tangent. I am using Serenity Sock Weight by Premier Yarns in the colorway Paprika. If you recall, when I was going through my sock yarn stash, I only have this one skein. One skein is not enough to make a pair of socks for me, but it is definitely enough to make a pair of socks for Mara. Did I ever tell you how much yarn I used in Cecilia's socks? I think it was only 28 grams out of a 100 gram skein. This is 50 grams, but it's still probably only going to be, 20-ish grams for a pair of socks for Mara, which means I'll have a lot left over for the sock yarn blanket, which will be nice because I really, really like this colorway. But now that I'm working it up, I thought maybe I would use it with another yarn from my stash and make a pair of socks with it, like with leftovers or something. But now that it's working up, I think that these colors are a little bit too little girl for me. I really like the pink and I really like the purple, and this part right here is blue and green and cream. And I like all of those colors, but with all 5 of them all together, it just screams like Easter basket to me. I don't know if I would wear those socks if I made them for myself, so I'm glad that I'm using the yarn from Mara. Did I tell you needle size? I don't even know. US size 2, 2.75 millimeter for Mara socks. I have also started 2 shawls, both crochet, different patterns though. This is Seraphina's shawl by Donnie's Stuff. I'm making it as part of a crochet along for shawls for the Newtown shooting, like comfort shawls. And you might think that this is a really strange choice for a comfort shawl, color-wise. The shawl is what everybody's making. It's the crochet along pattern. But I'm doing mine in Caron Simply Soft in the color black. Now, I personally really, really like black, and I find comfort in black. But I realized that not everybody feels the same way that I do about black. So I put up in the crochet along thread if they thought it would be like horrible if I made this comfort shawl out of black. And there were several people who said, oh, black's kind of dark and dreary and they're going through all of this and, you know, something bright would be better. But then one other person said, I find black comforting and I think you should go ahead with the black. That's all I needed, was one person to be like, it's cool if you do black. Because I may have been the only person in the world, as far as I knew, who thought that black was comforting. But no, someone else agreed. So this is the shawl so far. And it's made on a US H, which is 5mm hook. And I started this, which, let me just pull this out because I am not at the end of a row. This is made on that alpaca yarn that Lorraine dyed for me. Sam, I don't think you watch this, but if you do, this is what your shawl looks like so far. Sam is my swap partner for the Valentine's Day shawl. And here is the shawl. It is called the Ozark Morning Shawl, and it blocks out kind of like this. It's very lacy, very pretty. The pattern is by Mary Aycock, and I was one of the test crocheters for it, and I really, really like the pattern. Luckily, we did this pattern June or July, I want to say, is when we tested it, so it's been plenty of time for me to get ready to do it again. This part, I had to look at the pattern for just a moment, and then I was like, oh yeah, totally, I got it. It's a 2-row repeat, so I looked at the pattern and then easy peasy. I can do this until there's supposed to be 25 of these across the top row, 25 of these little pentagon things across the top row, and then you do a border. I'm going to have to look at the instructions for the border, probably for every border row. I think there's 4 or 5, because I just don't remember it at all, which is nice. I like when when things are kind of new. I don't mind when I can memorize things. For instance, the slide. I'm going to have to look for the second sock because there's left and right mirroring, but once I get through the first several rounds, then I won't have to look at the pattern again. Same thing for wedge. I'm going to have to refresh myself because it's been 3 or 4 days on the numbers exactly for wedge, but I'll be able to do the sock basically without looking at the pattern again. The pattern repeat for monkey, It's already in my head, so I don't have to look at the pattern for that. And I like that. I like being able to take my projects with me without having to take the pattern, because I don't print out patterns. I just don't have the ink for it. On a tangent again, yeah, it's just that day, I think. It's because the kids have been sick for 2 weeks, and I have been a shut-in with the kids for 2 weeks. We missed 2 weeks going to the library. We missed 1 week going to the gym, and those are the things that we do. Plus, last week there was no knitting group because it was so close to Christmas. Yesterday there was a knitting group, and we got together, and it was actually a decent-sized group. There were 4 of us. For the past couple months, there's been 2 or 3 of us, usually me and one other person. But yesterday there were 4 of us, which was really exciting, so I got to talk to people, and that was nice. But I still have that shut-in feeling, because I saw some people on Christmas Day, but other than that, for 2 weeks, on Christmas Day and on yesterday, pretty much hadn't seen anybody or talked to anybody. I don't have local friends here who I hang out with. Like, the knitting ladies are nice, but we don't get together outside of the knitting group, except to go to festivals and the like together. So, and Becca is my friend, but I don't have a license yet, and she doesn't have a vehicle, so we don't get to hang out that frequently. So, yes, that is why I am on so many tangents, because I just feel the need to bleh at you, or, at someone. I have one more work in progress. It's been a starting everything kind of week. Well, actually I have 2. I have one more sock. I did work on Amanda's socks, but I only did about 4 rounds, so I'm not even going to show you because it looks exactly the same. So other than that, I have some spinning done. I actually finished this skein, this little guy. It's 35 yards, and which weighs, no, it's 38 yards and 35 grams, because my spindle is broken and can't hold as much yarn as I would like. It's a 3-ply. I'm doing ply on the fly, so you can see that here is my single, and right here is my 3-ply. So it's already plied on here. I am liking the technique better now that I have been working on it. I'm nearly done with the fiber. I wanted to have it done by today so it could be part of the year-end stash down, I think that's what it's called, that is going on with Lisa of 90% Knitting, but it didn't happen. Sorry, that was my phone. But this is all I have left. So I'm hoping to get... Okay, let me just tell you all the things that I want to have done by January 12th. My spinning, I want to have that done because my friend Mary Lee and I were talking about spinning her up some yarn, so I want to be able to take this spindle, because I think my other spindle is just too small to do what she wants. I want to be able to take that spindle and spin her some yarn while I'm there. Hopefully I can get it all done, because she wants it really, really chunky, so I could probably get 4 ounces done in a night with it being really, really chunky. Like, she wants it this thick. So I think I could do that in a night or 2. I want to have this done because it needs to be sent out, the Angel Wings shawl. These socks, which I can probably get done in the next few days. Both of these socks and these socks, which are going to be knee-highs. And, wait, I haven't even started another project that I want to have done by the 12th. So, on to new ideas really quick, and then I have something really special to show you after I get through the ideas. Nope, not that one. I'm going to make Gabriel socks out of this brown. I've been going back and forth through my stash, but I don't really have a lot of guy colors in my stash that aren't earmarked for something else. And he really likes the colors in this, but I told you that I had about half of a skein left in my stash of this, which it's a little more than half a skein, which is good because this took up a little more than half a skein. I think this is 28 grams out of a 25 gram skein, and my other skein is about 32 grams. So I'll have a little bit left over from each of those skeins. I don't know if the dye lots are the same. I don't really care. I just want to be able to get these color repeats to match up as best as I can. They're pretty close color-wise. I don't know if the lengths are going to be the same, but I didn't want to use this skein and then cut in that other skein, so hopefully that'll work out pretty well. But yeah, I don't have a lot of guy colored yarn that's not marked for something else. So I think I'm going to use this and a Cookie A pattern of some sort and make Gabriel some socks, and I want those 5 pairs of socks and a shawl and spinning done by the 12th. I might be crazy. It might work out perfectly though. Who knows? It could be, I could get that all done. I mean, kids' socks don't take that long. I already have 2 half pairs. So, and last week I had just gotten through the cuffs on both of these. And these have both been sitting for a few days now. So that shouldn't be a big deal. The kids' socks shouldn't be a big deal. It's going to be mostly Melissa's sock because it is going to be knee-highs, spinning, and that shawl that I'm really going to have to work hard on. And I think the shawl could even go a couple more days. We'll see. I don't know. I'm going to go back to ideas for things coming up. No, I'm going to do it now. Yeah, I have these show notes. By the way, Mara drew out my show notes. I have these show notes and I try to follow them, but I keep my show notes in this journal that says Noisy. I think I told you that I'm in love with journals, and I have probably 30 empty ones up on my bookshelf upstairs just waiting to be used for things, so this one's being used for this. I like having my show notes written out like this instead of on scrap pieces of paper. That way I can flip through when I'm making them for the new week. So, new things still. Or not new things, ideas of things to make. This is the first ball of the Plymouth Happy Feet Color 1, all balled up and ready to go. I'm going to be doing the socks one at a time because they're mirrored. I'm going to be making Cookie A's Kai May, which is not out of Knit Sock Love. It's actually out of Sock Innovation, which I am borrowing from the library, but would like to one day own. So I'm going to be making it out of this, which is variegated greens. It's got like a really dark green and then a light green, kind of foresty. I think it's just gorgeous, and it's kind of similar to the colors that she used in Kai May, which may be why I'm making it. I do really like the construction, but that may be why I'm making it. I'm not sure. But I still have to ball the other one. See, I did this on my whisk. And hopefully it stands up pretty well because it looks like it should hold up pretty well. We'll see. I would really, really like a ball winder in Swift someday, but I just don't have them yet. Maybe that will be my next big purchase. I'll get to that in a minute though, the purchasing thing. On to the last 2 ideas. I am going to be making a sweater for Amanda. If all goes to what we were planning when she visited, we are going to get yarn for it while I'm visiting in a couple weeks. And I'm going to make her the $5 in Paris by Anna Peck Melizwinski. link that in the show notes, because yeah, I'm sorry to butcher your name, Anna. But it's a short sleeve sweater that is longer, goes down around the hips, and it has striping and kind of a square neckline. I think it has kind of a square neckline. It's going to be my first sweater, and I'm pretty sure it's worked from top down, all in one piece. So hopefully that will work out really well. I'm going to be doing that as part of a knit along with Diane of Knitables. She's having a sweater knit along in January and February. So I'm going to be doing that. And then one of the free patterns that I got, one of the paid patterns that I got for free, remember I was talking about that at the beginning, is called Moody by Elena Nodal. And it's a short sleeve cardigan sort of thing with a neck that can be buttoned up like a turtleneck, or it can play nicely. And I saw the pattern and I loved it and I want it for me. So maybe when we go and get yarn for Amanda, we will also pick up yarn for me. That might be my next big yarny type purchase. I don't know. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking of doing in the next short while. I'm definitely doing Amanda's sweater as part of the knit along. I'm thinking about not starting the sweater until February and just busting my butt on that sweater and using that sweater and the other sweater as my Nerd Wars dissertation for Tournament 7, which will be February, March, April, but I'm not sure. I might do something else for my dissertation. It's still up in the air, but I really want to make that sweater so that I can have it for next fall, and I'd really like to wear it still this spring because it's short sleeve, so I could wear it as long as it's cool enough out. Kentucky seems to go from hot to cool for a short period of time to cold, which I'm fine with. I like the cool and cold because I can always put on a sweater. I'm not so great with hot, but so in the springtime it goes from cool to hot, and I don't like that. But hopefully it stays cool long enough that I can start and finish the sweater and be able to wear it a few times. We'll see. So I am going to show you my sock yarn blanket. It has another row finished. It is officially at over 10%. So here it is. I'm actually working on a square right now, but yeah. So that's what that is. I'm sure you can recognize some of these colors from current projects because I just couldn't wait to put them in. And Kenny's sock, I mentioned, I made a pair of socks for my boyfriend before, so I had that already. So there's the sock yarn blanket. Look at how wide it's getting. I know it's not huge, but I'm in love with it. I actually worked on this yesterday at knitting. It was the project I took. I wasn't feeling socks. I was feeling mindless because sometimes people don't show up and I like to read my book while I'm there. And sometimes I can't read my book while I'm doing patterns. Like I was reading my book and doing Monkey and I totally forgot to do a round. I didn't go back because it's socks from Mara and she's going to outgrow them in a year, and she's also 2 and won't know the difference. But I wanted to have something mindless so that while I was reading it wouldn't matter if I wouldn't have to think about it. I would just have to count, which I can count and read at the same time. Just count in my head silently. And I don't know how other people do it when they're counting in their head, but whenever I set a number in my head that I want to reach, and whenever I hit that number, I usually go like 1 past it, and then my brain is like, hey, wait, pay attention to us counting over here. And I'm like, oh, okay, let me take back that 1 stitch and do what I'm supposed to, and then, okay, go. So that's how my brain works. But yeah, my sock yarn blanket is coming along. I think that my problem with my sock yarn blanket, you may remember that it hasn't been getting a lot of love, is that I only have 10 skeins that I'm pulling colors from, maybe less than that. I just don't have that many skeins of colors left, and I actually have one that I finished last night, so down to 9. And I'm not going to have this left over because I want to use all of it, which is why I already put the square in. I already used this once. This has like 5 or 6 squares in it. I haven't used this, so this will be new, and this will be new. But I've already used this 2 or 3 times, so I think that's why I'm having a hard time doing this sock yarn blanket, because I just want more variety in the squares, and it's becoming difficult to make sure that colors, like the colorways, aren't pooling, that I'm not having too much of one somewhere. So hey, if you have sock yarn scraps that you're not interested in making into your own sock yarn blanket or hexie puffs because you're just not into it or something, I will be happy to take them off of your hands and put them in my sock yarn blanket. Because I'm sure after I finish this sock yarn blanket, I'm not going to want to make another one, and I'm probably going to be trying to foist my sock yarn scraps off on other people. Probably. I don't know for sure, but you know, I really like this, but I don't like repeating things. So we'll see. That's years away. It's not even an issue right now. So that was my sock yarn blanket. Isn't that exciting? Now you won't see it for another couple months or whatever. However long it takes me to get to 15% completed. On to books. I finished Changeling by Philippa Gregory. It turned out better than I expected, but I found it really predictable. I always knew what the big shocker was, like 30 pages at least before it happened, and it's not a very thick book. So it wasn't bad. I might read the next one, but probably not. I'll probably read things that I enjoy more. I also finished Mists of Avalon, Book 4, which was Prisoner in the Oak by Marion Zimmer Bradley, and that is the last book in the series. I was listening to it on audiobook, and now I don't have an audiobook, and I don't have my laptop to tote around to listen to podcasts, so I'm kind of stuck as far as that goes. I really, really, really liked Mists of Avalon. I know that I've said that for weeks now, but oh my goodness, it is so good. It is amazing. I think that I'm going to see if she has, Marion Zimmer Bradley, if she has written anything else. Hi, Puddle. Can you go upstairs, please? I'm almost done. Go upstairs. Still quiet time. Sorry. I think I'm going to see if she has written anything else, because I really, really liked her writing style. Really, anything female-centric I'm pretty much about, honestly. And I'm really sad that it's over. I really wanted like a book 5, 6, 7, and 8. But, you know, when everybody starts dying from old age, all the main characters, it's time for the story to come to a close. I hope I didn't spoil it for you that mortals die, because they do. And I also finished The Knitting Goddess, which I forget who it's by, and I didn't write it down last week, and it is currently back at the library. I could have looked it up, but I didn't. But it is really, really, really good. The stories are really, really good. It's just really, some of them are just really modern takes on the ancient myths. Some of them are still ancient takes on ancient myths, but they're all really, really interesting, and again, female-centric, because they're all goddesses. The patterns are not my cup of tea. A lot of them use novelty type yarns in them. I think 4 or 5 of the projects out of 9 use eyelash yarn. It's not horrible, but it's just not my thing. But the stories are really, really good, and there's tutorials for new knitters, like how to knit, how to purl, how to cast on, how to bind off, how to do increases, how to do decreases. All the basic things are covered in there. Not in one section though, they're covered throughout. Each chapter builds on a skill, pretty much. So, since I finished all of those books and I was done with everything. That was everything that I was reading. I started Stardust by Neil Gaiman. And it is basically a story about a town that is on the edge of fairy. A mortal town on the edge of fairy. I really like fairy things. Miss of Avalon had the Fairylands. Stardust has fairies. Finder by Emma Bull had, fairies in it. You'll probably see a lot of things with fairies. I didn't even know what this was about. I just saw Neil Gaiman in the young adult section and I was like, yes, I will read that because I'll probably like it. I really like young adult books because adult books just, they take too much thought when I'm trying to knit and read at the same time, or crochet and read at the same time, because I'm really, really bad at doing just one thing at the same time, or one thing at the same time. I'm really bad at doing one thing at a time unless, for instance, last night I had food poisoning and woke up at midnight and didn't go back to sleep until 4, and I knit a little bit on this, the monkey socks, while I was reading, and then I was just like, oh, fail. So I just ended up reading for a while, but the house was quiet, there were no distractions, so I was able to do that and focus. So I could have read an adult novel right there. I really want to finish Stardust. Other than that, it's really, really good so far. I am 72 pages in, and I think that I'm probably going to finish this in the next 3 or so days, which is really good for me because I don't spend a lot of time reading, usually like half an hour at night. But I want to finish that, and then I have 2 other books on my bookshelf from the library that I want to read before we go on our Michigan trip, so yeah, I'm going to get cracking on that. One of them is a young adult book, and one of them is a reference-y type book, so we'll see if I get there. But this is what I'm reading this week, and hopefully next week I will be done with it, and I can tell you all about it. And Gabriel Dreams, how's it going?
Don't ask me, please.
Sure, you can come be in my podcast. You guys don't mind, do you? This is my bunny. Look at that face. Look at that face. Oh, I love you so much, but you're supposed to be in your room for quiet time. You're fine, go upstairs. So yeah, that's what I'm reading, and hopefully it will be done next week, and I will have another book to show you as well, but maybe not. It depends on if I just get into a non-reading mood. Sometimes that happens, where I just don't read for a couple weeks. I don't think that that's going to happen, but maybe. I do really need to buckle down and get a lot of these projects made, so yeah, it might happen that I don't read. We'll see. Because only, well, I guess about half of them lend themselves to easily be done while I'm reading, and the others take a little more thought. Okay, on to the last segment. I am not going to do a 3 favorite things. I'm going to do my goals for the coming year, because today is the last day of the year. So I'm going to go ahead and do my craft goals for 2013. This right here. Not right there. Fail. Okay, can you see that list? Yeah, kind of. Okay, that list right there. Those are the things that are in my queue that I need to make in the coming year, or, that I want to make in the coming year. Sorry about this arm thing. I just need to adjust. And several of them are left over from last year that I want to do. So that's my list. I would like to knock out half of that list in the coming year. Also, I want to publish 5 designs. I make up a lot of my designs. I just make them, and I don't necessarily want to publish paid patterns, but I do want to write up some of the things that I've made and get them out there so other people can use them, because other people are like, hey, that's really cool, I want to do that. So I need to write them up and get them test knit and or crocheted, whatever, and get them out into the world. I want to do 5. This time next year, get after me if I don't have 5 done. I want to make 8 pairs of socks for me. You might recall that I said 7, but I have enough left over from my mom's last pair of socks to make myself a pair of like ankle socks, perfect for going to the gym. Just enough socks so that my feet aren't naked in my shoe, but without going up my legs, so my legs don't get hot while I'm working out. So 8 pairs of socks for me. I want to finish 25 pairs of socks at least in the next year. Not going to be too hard to accomplish, considering I have 4 pairs on the needles right now, and I plan on starting a 5th, and I want to have all 5 of those done by the 12th. That'll take me to 5 of 25. That means I only have to do 20 more for the rest of the year. And I have that yarn in the stash, so I don't plan on buying more sock yarn. I know that seems kind of strange because I've had a lot of new sock yarn coming in, but I really don't do a lot of buying throughout the year. It's mainly when like everybody has their holiday sales that I'm like, yes, I will buy yarn for the coming year. So you probably won't see a lot of new things coming in. I don't have the new things today, as you can see, but I hope to make 25 pairs of socks, and that should pretty much, 25 pairs of socks from stash. I'm just going to say it. I want to make 25 pairs of socks from my stash. If I buy other yarn and want to make socks out of that yarn during this year, they don't count towards the 25. So there you go. I've said it. That's it. I also got last week, hopefully last week's videos weren't deleted from the camera when I tried to upload them to my desktop, and that didn't happen. But last week I showed you I had all of the Lion Brand homespun that I got from Steve's aunt and sister. I would like to make a lap gown out of that. I'm not sure when I'm going to do that, but I would like to make a lap gown out of that. Probably mitered squares, because they're easy and mindless. I'd like to get that done. And my final goal is to make sweaters, but I've already told you about the 2 sweaters that I want to make, so those are my goals. Wow, I can't believe that we were only interrupted those 2 times by Gabriel. This is done in pretty much a straight shot. I don't think I'm going to have to edit to take out random baby craziness. Very strange. Mara must have passed out. She was not taking a nap, but she must have passed out. That's the only way that I could be here talking to you for, almost an hour now, and she is not freaking out. Anyway, thank you for listening to me ramble. I will get this up as soon as I can. As soon as I have that power cord, it will happen. But either way, you'll be hearing from me today. So there's that. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. I should say this at the beginning. Thank you if you are a new viewer for watching my podcast. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. This is something that I should say at the beginning. Next week I will try to remember to say this. But thank you. I am really, really honored that anyone would want to listen to me prattle on for an hour about knitting. Well, about anything, but, about knitting. And I would love to hear from you. I have gotten a few messages in the past week saying that people miss my podcast, which is really nice to hear because I kind of felt that I was just putting this out there and nobody was watching. I don't get a lot of comments on the Ravelry group, which is Bunny Fish Podcast on Ravelry. I don't get a lot of comments there. I've gotten a few PMs, which was nice, and a few comments on the blog. So you don't need to say hi to me via anything, but I really, really appreciate hearing back from you guys, hearing that these words aren't going into the ether and just, being lost. It's really nice to know that it's really nice for this to be a conversation and not a monologue, because while I'm recording it feels like a monologue. Not in a bad way, it's just, it's just me wondering if anyone is even paying attention. So, yeah, thank you for sitting through this, once again, rambling. I hope to see you next week. I hope that this gets up this week, and next week I won't have to try to do 3 videos. And I hope you made something awesome with your sticks and string. Have a good week. Have a good New Year's. Be safe.